Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Channa Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Bhajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Bhajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jam Vishnu Pad Padamamsa Parvajacharya Astu Tarasata Shishimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Jam Vishnu Pad Padamamsa Parvajacharya Astu Tarasata Shishimad Sri Guru Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai ISKCON BBT Founder Charya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Premsiko Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shiva Sari Gaur Bhaktivinda Ki Jai Gaur Premananda Hari Bol All glories to all the sum devotees Hare Krishna All glories to all the sum devotees Hare Krishna All glories to all the sum devotees Hare Krishna All glories to Shri Guru Shri Gauranga Glories to Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Hare Krishna. So thank you for coming to Bhagavatam class today and for the opportunity to speak something. This is Srimad Bhagavatam 4634. Today is also the appearance day of Shri Puruṣottama Das Thakur. It's interesting, last time I gave class was on Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Goswami's appearance day, and it was also Srila Puruṣottama Das Thakur's disappearance day. So we get to continue talking about him. We'll talk a little bit about him at the end. And then we will kind of do this particular verse, then I'll do like a summary, kind of a visual summary of the chapter, because I like to get the whole picture. So today I'm titling this class Radical Empathy, because we know that it's a theme of reconciliation here, reconciliation. This is the Paradukkha-dukhi principle. The devotees, they only suffer at the suffering of others. They have a very compassionate nature. And so like that. So I think this phrase helps define the saintly nature of Vaishnavas who forgive offenses and sees the soul rather than the animalistic reactions of anger. So we'll see that. Sorry, I had to use this bigger computer because my iPad is already outdated for this kind of presentation. So let's dive into the verse. You see that okay? Okay. Sanandana-ādyaiḥ mahā-siddhaiḥ śāntaiḥ saṁśānta-vigraham upāsyamānaṁ sakhyā bhartrā guhyaka-rakṣasām sanandanādyair mahā-siddhaiḥ śāntaiḥ saṁśānta-vigraham upāsyamānaṁ sakhyā bhartrā guhyaka-rakṣasām sanandanādyair mahā-siddhaiḥ śāntaiḥ saṁśānta-vigraham upāsyamānam sakhyā bhartrā guhyaka-rakṣasām. Saṁśānta-vigraham mahā-siddhaiḥ saṁśānta-vigraham sakhyā guhyaka-rakṣasām. Vaishnavis. saṁśānta-vigraham upāsyamānam sakhyā bhartrā guhyaka-rakṣasām mahā-siddhaiḥ saṁśānta-vigraham guhyaka-rakṣasām. Sanandana-ādyaiḥ. The four Kumāras, headed by Sanandana. mahā-siddhaiḥ, liberated souls. śāntaiḥ, saintly. saṁśānta-vigraham, the grave and saintly Lord Śiva. upāsyamānaṁ was being praised. Sakhyā by Kuvera. Cha and bhartrā by the master. Guhyaka-rakṣasām of the Guhyakas and Rākṣasas. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Lord Śiva sat there, surrounded by saintly persons like Kuvera, the master of the Guhyakas, and the 4 Kumāras, who were already liberated souls. Lord Śiva was grave and saintly. Purport. The personalities sitting with Lord Śiva are significant because the 4 Kumāras were liberated from birth. It may be remembered that after their birth, these Kumāras were requested by their father to get married and beget children in order to increase the population of the newly created universe. But they refused, and at that time Lord Brahmā was angry. In that angry mood, Lord Rudra, or Lord Śiva, was born. Thus they were intimately related. Kuvera, the treasure of the demigods, is fabulously rich. Thus Lord Śiva's association with the Kumāras and Kuvera indicates that he has all transcendental and material opulences. Actually, he is the qualitative incarnation of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, his position is very exalted. So that's the end of the purport. But let's go back to the verse again. Translation. Lord Śiva sat there surrounded by saintly persons like Kuvera, the master of the Guhyakas, and the 4 Kumāras, who already liberated souls. Lord Śiva was grave and saintly. Om Gyana Tamanandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshus Unmilitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitamena Bhutale Swayamupagadamayam Dadati Swapatantikam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasari Gaura Bhaktivinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimati Jai Pataka Swamaniti Namane Namacharya Pradayane Nitya Kripa Padayane Gorakate Damadara Nagar Gramatarane. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschachade Satarine. Vanchakalpa Tubhischa Kripasindu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So that's the verse. Give you a chance to read it. Those who just came in. So here's the summary for the chapter as we are going through this amazing chapter actually. How Brahma satisfies Lord Śiva. You know, it's like a master class in, what do they call that in conflict resolution? It's amazing. It's really how he does it. So we're in this section here, verse 34, where verses 32 to 41. This is where they get the darshan of Lord Śiva, and he's seen where he's with all the devatas there. So, and then this whole section is where, Shiva is very grave. You would think that Lord Śiva would be very angry and upset, and all these devatas approaching him are actually fearful because, he just lost his wife, he just so many different things, he was insulted. But they're amazed when they approach him and how just peaceful he is there. He's very tranquil, he's meditating, and it just shows that he's a very compassionate personality, undisturbed by external insults and things like that. So anyway, they're going to petition him to restore the sacrifice and everything. So that's that. So in the purport, Prabhupada mentions this pastime, the original story of Lord Śiva, and why he's associated with anger, and yet he's still found in this peaceful meditation, and that we saw in the purport here. But we'll see that he actually is an architect, a section of architecture of peace. So, yeah, so this Rudra, this anger principle, is actually transformed into Śiva, auspiciousness, and through his penance, and we'll see that. So, as Prabhupada mentions in the purport, these small boys, the 4 Kumāras, they were standing before their father, Lord Brahmā, and they refused his order. Can you imagine? So, Brahmā, he became very upset. And the reason explained why they actually disobeyed his order, because it is explained that if you're fully surrendered to the Supreme Lord, you're not indebted to anyone, any authority, your father or even the demigods, because they chose the path of moksha dharma over family life. So then what happened? Brahmā felt disrespected by his son's refusal, and he tried to control his anger using his intelligence, but yet he failed. So this anger literally just burst from between his eyebrows, like they say the third eye, and it just took, it came out, we could see there in that image, and it came out as a child named Rudra. And it's described that his color was a mixture of blue, which is ignorance, and red, passion. And because his anger is a product of these two modes. And so that's how he got his name. He began to cry, which is Ruroda, and so because he was like that, he was named Rudra, the one who cries. So Brahmā gave him certain places to live. The heart, the senses, the life air, fire, snakes, scorching heat. This is where that Rudra principle or that anger manifests in the world. And so what did Lord Brahmā tell him to do? He said, okay, then you populate the universe. You see the image on the right. It was a disaster. So he was getting offspring that looked exactly like him, and they were very furious, very powerful and fiery. And they were unlimited in number. And they were so aggressive, they tried to devour the entire universe. And even Lord Brahmā himself, they tried to attack him. So this shows the danger of uncontrolled passion with this Rudra principle. When it's unchecked, it destroys everything. Even the creator, the environment, so many things. So these generations of Rudras were so dangerous that even Lord Brahmā became afraid. So this is when Lord Brahmā realized, he made a mistake. So he said, okay, just stop, there's no need for you to create, these living entities, but just perform tapasya, penance, meditation, he said. Because by penance you should be able to create. And by penance only can one even approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is where Lord Śiva comes into this deep meditation. And this is why we see in this chapter, you see him under the banyan tree. He's just following the orders of his father. And he's in deep meditation. Do you have some comment, Prabhu? Oh yeah, we'll get there. I'm just going to finish this part here. So yeah. So this is what happens. Lord Śiva is very much into this meditation. So he's like, this is his Rudra principle. this anger, false ego, but he's controlling it by way of meditation, this tapasya. And so he stopped the destruction and he entered into this architecture of peace through tapasya. So that's based on that. So yeah. Anyway, how I mentioned how he takes form in the world, like in the heart, especially this ahankara. When one thinks, I'm all in all, that's the presence of Rudra. And that life air, the breath, when we become angry, we breathe rapidly. And this agitated breath is a representative of Rudra. This is all described in this chapter, the Bhagavatam, that were the birth and the beginning of creation. And then he's also in the senses. So the anger manifests through these red-hot eyes, clenched fists, and they're kicking legs, And so even in the elements of nature, like fire and water, like blazing fire, it's like the infuriated flood in ocean. It's all manifestations of Rudra. And the sky and the air, when the sky is filled with dense clouds, roaring thunder, and fierce winds, that's Rudra's present. And then, and the planetary influences, when we have this extreme heat stroke from the sun, and it collapses, everything burns up. And then we have the extreme cold, and that's what it causes one to collapse. So that's the Rudra influence. And then also in creatures, tigers, lions, snakes, they're all constant representations of this Rudra element. So when this is unchecked, then we see what happens. It begins to devour everything in the universe. So this is why Brahma told him to just perform tapasya. And that's the only way to access the divine. So we see here, we'll see why it's described, I think we read already, that he's as grave as time eternal. This is him in his meditation. He's in silent, So, yeah, he's holding back that storm, that fire, that anger through his tapasya. So that's how they had to maintain the cosmic order. Okay, so we'll go on here. So here's a little idea just to see from a strand of hair from Lord Śiva is just a little tiny representation of his personifying his anger. This is a little clip that Jagattatra made for me. So just a very quick, just to give you the idea of the power of Rudra. And Jagattatra Prabhu gets the credit for this. He did this just in a few minutes. So, and this is how it goes. That's just the power of one strand of his hair, of the personification of Lord Śiva. Sorry, the sound is down, but... Huh? Sorry? Yeah, I have the whole clip, but I just cut the rest out. Yeah, because it just wanted to show a simple thing. But yeah, so it came out pretty good. Anyway, this is a little, just a summary here, and again, of this particular chapter that I studied. And to give you an idea of what's happening here. So they're on this road to reconciliation, to approach Lord Śiva in his wonderful abode. It's not really an abode, but his natural setting where he lives. It's just amazing, as it was described already. So, yeah. And just to give you a second infographic, just to give you an idea what's happening. So, and they see as they approached him, Lord Śiva was in a state of profound meditation. See, as that's what he does. That's his tapasya. And so he's exemplifying the perfect yogi there. he remains compassionate, self-controlled, even despite him being wronged. You see, they were afraid that he might be so upset when they approached him. So actually, Lord Brahmā, everybody was fearful. And when they approached him, they were smiling, just to show that, they wanted to be peaceful. So here we have the architecture of peace. So this is, as I mentioned, it's kind of a study, this whole chapter about reconciliation and the restoration of consciousness. So, yeah. This is a very specific historical event after the great sacrifice of Daksha ended up in a catastrophe. So, you can see the quote there on the screen on the bottom. The journey to fix a mistake is harder, but more beautiful than the mistake itself. And this is what happens in this chapter. That's what I was talking. It's amazing about conflict resolution. So explore how an offense creates chaos and how higher consciousness restores peace. And so what happened is the demigods, they're approaching Lord Brahmā in a dark cave. They're looking fearful, defeated. After the aftermath we just saw, everything was destroyed. We just saw in that little video how Daksha was destroyed, his head was cut off. You can imagine everything else was destroyed. So, and then Brahma doesn't comfort them, sorry that happened to you, giving them something to to hold their tears back, or give them some tissue or something. You see, but he said, as we read in previous verses, you can't be happy in executing sacrifices if you blaspheme a great devotee. So that was the offense. So we see that that's the key concept here, is the incompatibility between happiness and offense. And that's what Brahma points out, that success, like the sacrifice they wanted, it means nothing if the foundation is built on disrespect. So even though Daksha was technically following all the Vedic rituals, his excluding Lord Śiva rendered the entire project just poisonous. So you see. So I think we can learn from this that we can't build a positive future if we're holding on to offensive mentality. And so here we see the Ashutosh paradox. So this is the dilemma. We have the storm on the left, which is the risk, and then peaceful lotus on the right, the reality. So this is a dilemma. The demigods are terrified to approach Lord Śiva because they know his power. We can just see a barely glimpse of what we can try to imagine, today. And so Brahma warns them that Shiva's anger can destroy all the planets. You see, therefore you should be afraid of him. So, and they can destroy everything and themselves and the controllers also. So what's the solution? He said that, however, he brought this name of Lord Śiva, Asutosha, which means he can be easily pleased. So that's the strategy. So that's kind of a paradox. The same personality who can destroy the universe, he can very easily be pleased. But only if you surrender without mental reservations. And that's an important point. It's not like you go, oh yeah, we're sorry, but you were angry anyway too, or some excuse. But no, you have to be without mental reservation. So that's the key here, is that the path to reconciliation isn't about complicated maneuvering, but it requires just simple, humble action, unreserved apology. And then Brahma assures them, if you do that, Lord Śiva will forgive you because his Asutosh, and your surrender, it'll mitigate your offense. So this is what they approached that atmosphere. Beautiful, It's described lush, green, sacred rivers. I think there were the Nanda and the Alakananda rivers. So Brahma leads them on that path, as we saw in the infographic, to Kailash. And the atmosphere just completely changes. It's like amazing. It's so sanctifying. It's called a tirthapad, right? And the rivers are sanctified because they carry the dust of the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. And it says that the Ganges are very sacred because they touch the lotus feet of Krishna. And they purify anybody who comes in contact with them. So it's interesting how the environment will dictate your consciousness, actually. So you see, we come to the temple, your whole consciousness changes, whereas if you're in a bar or somewhere, completely different. So this is the physical journey they take to this holy place, and it helps prepare the demigods' minds for the apology. So if you contact a very sacred place, it purifies the mind of material contamination. So this is a wonderful place where Lord Śiva was, and we see here. But still, we have to keep our mind from getting distracted, because as the quote here is, whenever there's a nice atmosphere in the material world, immediately there's an awakening of appetite. So when I was doing some of this, there's a font called Leto, and this word fell into my presentation, and I just changed one letter, Leto, and it actually applies to what's happening here, which is interesting, how you come across different things. And so it's actually, Leto is a figure in Greek mythology. She's the mother of Apollo and Artemis. So Apollo is a god of light, truth, and prophecy, and Artemis is a goddess of the hunt. So she's associated with the hidden or the unseen knowledge. So the insight that I got was that the reality doesn't change, only the perceiver's consciousness determines what they see. So this is a Vedic principle in the Greek mythology. So this Leto insight is that it's a symbolistic concept, meaning something hidden or a deeper insight. So wisdom that isn't immediately obvious on the surface, it's only revealed to those who look deeper. So this is what happens here, is that the demigods, they get into an enjoying spirit. This appetite, this atmosphere awakened their sexual appetite. They see the environment or the facility for enjoyment. But the sages, the same environment, they see it as a facility for meditation. So it's nice, huh? You can see the different things. So here, that's the difference. And so here's that place. You want to see that massive tree? This is a banyan tree. Ancient banyan tree. It gives you the dimensions of it, the atmosphere. It's permanently cooled and shaded. And there's no noise. There's no birds, no insects. It's a sanctuary of silence. So this is not accidental. Lord Śiva made this environment. It's designed for maha yoga, great meditation. And this is what's required when we want to perceive the absolute truth. We have to be still. We have to be focused. You can't go, say you want to go on a retreat, or you want to go someplace to meditate, but yet you bring your phone. And it's like you're constantly scrolling your phone. So you're still bringing all the conflict with you. There's no peace. You have to just be it has to be very silent, like this yoga pit, the seat of meditation. Design a place that's just strictly for your meditation, for your japa, for your study. So that's our sanctuary of silence we have to create. So here it's described as grave, as time eternal. And so, we see him. He was surrounded by the Kumāras and great saintly persons. And what was he doing? He was discussing philosophy. You see? So remember the demigods, they arrived terrified, right? They thought maybe this monster, he was going to be like so angry, fuming with rage and ready to just destroy them. But the reality is here that his grave is time, eternal. He gave up all his anger. So he's not plotting revenge, like he's resentful, but he's actively instructing great sages, Narada, about the absolute truth. And we see the ash on his body smeared, it resembles an evening cloud, and it symbolizes his renunciation. And it's described that he has a different mudra. I'll show that in the next slide. A gesture. He has a mudra in his hands, which shows that a gesture of argument, logic, and just shows he's engaged in philosophy and not emotional reaction. So this is a lesson for us, to flex our self-realization. Despite being insulted, losing his wife, he still remained fixed in his duty. So he demonstrates the difference between reacting, anger, and responding, staying centered in his truth. And here's the mudra. It's called the Tarka mudra. And so this is, he's seated in this hero posture. It's called the Virasana. And he's instructing the sages. So that's what represents logical argument or instruction. And this is what defines a great soul. Even amidst personal tragedy and disrespect, he's still fixed and instructing and enlightening others. Discussing the absolute truth. He's not planning like a revenge or anything like that. So here's a nice painting of that, describing it. And it's interesting how you come across things. My wife was giving a class online. They take turns with the different devotees, and they were discussing Lord Śiva, and I just happened to be walking by, and this prayer was being said about Lord Śiva, and I go, wow, that's perfect. It relates exactly to what's happening here. It's a beautiful prayer. And I'm not sure, I don't know the tune, but it's a wonderful prayer. He's a protector of the Dhyam. It's called Chetrapal. This is from Srila Vishnava Chakravarti Thakur in his Sankalpa Kalpatarum. And so it goes, Vrindavan Vani Pate Jaya Soma Soma Mole sanandana-ādyaiḥ Gopeshvara Vracha Vilasi Yugangri Padme Prema Pacha Prayacha Nirupadi Namo Namaste. So this is how it's described. O Shiva, O gatekeeper of Vrindavan, O you who are accompanied by Uma, O you who carry the moon in your hair, O Lord worshipped by Sanat Kumar, and Narada Muni, O Gopeshvara, the worshipable deity of the gopis, desiring that you bestow upon me love for the divine couple, Sri Sri Radha Madhava, who perform joyous pastimes in Vraja, offer my obeisances to you again and again. So this is nice how we're just hearing how Lord Śiva is there under the banyan tree with his sages, and then, a beautiful song created regarding to this. So, yeah. So we see how an offense can break our relationships, break the world, but actually humility can rebuild it. So, yeah. Well, so time flew by here, so I don't know if we have time to finish the class, but if anyone feels that they need to leave to do their service, you can feel free. But I still have some more slides, but sorry, kind of time went on. But this is Lord Śiva, and he's amazing. So here's where the humility comes, where Lord Brahmā approaches them, and Lord Śiva, what does he do? He gets up and respects and offers his respects to his father. So even though he's being worshipped by the demigods, you see, he still does that. So respect invites reconciliation. The tension evaporates, not through negotiation, but through a display of culture and etiquette. So this is what Lord Śiva is showing. A wonderful gesture. So it doesn't mean that because you're powerful that you should negate etiquette. And this is what Lord Śiva says, honoring his superior. And Śiva just disarms the situation. So he's showing that we have to maintain this proper hierarchy through humility. It's essential for peace. So that's nicely described there. And then Lord Brahmā, he uses a very nice way of approaching Lord Śiva. He glorifies him in the beginning. And he's talking about his power and how he acknowledges Śiva is like a web that creates, maintains, and annihilates the cosmos exactly like a spider. So he's glorifying him like that. So Brahma says you have Śiva Shakti, auspicious energy. And he explains that even though what you did, it's like the criminal department. He actually came and annihilated the Jagya, punished Daksha. He said, yeah, it's important because, the government has to have, the criminal and the police department also to maintain things. So he's saying, yeah, what you did was right. So, you're just trying to maintain everything. And so this is the empathy we see. If you have an animalistic vision, you see things with anger. And so the nice quote there, anger makes us animals, empathy makes us saints. So this is that term of Lord Śiva, para dukkha dukhi, the saints. They suffer only when they see others suffering. And while the offender focuses on their own pride, the saint focuses on the other's spiritual well-being. So that shows you the difference there. And then Lord Brahmā approaches him and said, don't kill the already dead because they're envious, so many different things. So, yeah, they've already been killed by providence. So there's no need for him to use his power to destroy them. Because saints, they don't take offense because they're bewildered. That's why they made an offense. And so he said, be compassionate. He's pleading to him to be compassionate. You're omniscient, you're not bewildered, therefore you should be merciful to those who are bewildered. So, yeah. But then we should see that too when we see someone is acting under confusion and pain, rather than pure malice, then forgiveness becomes the only logical thing for an enlightened being. And here's another point. You've heard of the term kintsugi, and it's kind of a Japanese thing of restoring something that's broken. It dates back to the 15th century. So rather than disguising the breakage of the broken pieces, they reassemble them with like a lacquer mixed with gold or silver or platinum, and it makes it even more beautiful. So this is the point here that is being made, that this symbolizes making something beautiful out of brokenness. So this is what kin means, gold, and sugi means patch. So that's the mindset we should have, And so Brahma's requesting that. So he's telling him, just take your rightful share, just do that what you can. So this is Krishna's mercy, is the gold that we're seeing here. That we shouldn't try to conceal our faults or things that happen, but we should transform them into something luminous. And that's the spiritual practice of Krishna's mercy. So this just goes in a little more there, and just kind of repeating what we talked about, the gold, sacrifice, the lesson of the cracks. And this is the result. After everything's conciliated, they perform the sacrifice, it's completed, you know, and they actually please Lord Vishnu. And he actually appears in the sacrifice. So this is how the whole what is. And this is our modern sacrifice, is that we have to perform Sankirtan. And this is what our process is. Chanting the holy names of the Lord. And this is the appearance day, special appearance day of Sri Puruṣottama Das. And I mean, he was a very great personality. He was known as Stoka Krishna, one of Lord Krishna's cowherd friends. He was a Priya Shaki, a Priya Saka, in the realm of Vrindavan. And in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, he is revered as the 10th Gopal among the Dwadasa Gopalas. And so it talks about his family lineage, his childish play. Even from birth, he was always attracted to Krishna. And he would play with the divine, have that playfulness towards the divine. So, yeah. I mean, there's more we could talk about, but time is getting late, so I want to hold you up. And then I had some images of how we're applying this today in our particular day and age. We could see here how Puruṣottama Das Thakur was a primary architect of this inclusive movement, just like that we've seen this Daksha Yajna disaster. You know, how that was rooted in elitism and exclusion. But Sankirtan is all about, you know, bringing people together, sharing sanctified food. And this is what Puruṣottama Das Thakur did. He was an associate of Lord Nityananda, and his mission was to distribute the joy of Sankirtan to everyone and bypass the strict hierarchies and deliver the most fallen in very simple, joyful methods of chanting, distributing prasadam. So this is what's going on today. So this is Lord Chaitanya's movement. This is a beautiful painting that's in the Krishna Balaram temple in Mauritius, where we were visiting just this last month. So, and then just to show how this is going on there, we have some beautiful pictures of the deities being worshipped. This is Krishna Balaram. This is beautiful Radha Krishna deities in Mauritius. Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda. Some home deities. More pictures of the deities on the altars. Srila Prabhupada. And prasadam, devotees serving the prasadam. Actually, Archana was there with us for 3 weeks. And the devotees were wonderful. This is a preaching center that was this devotee here on the left. He started, and this is his group of devotees that come to his preaching center. And this is the prasadam distribution. Archana giving a class showing when he's really trying to make a point across. And we went on different tours all over the island. There's so many different kinds of temples and places like this. Here on the side, they have all the incarnations of the deity, of different demigods, and Krishna on the right. Pictures of Krishna there. So just to show you. And then there's, let me see if I show there's Harigriva. There's Lord Śiva. Amazing temples there. This is a huge image of the deity. They're building a new temple here in Phoenix Temple there, where we saw the deities. And they have Snana Yatra. There they celebrate with kirtan, chanting. And That's Janardhan Swami chanting. I think he changed his name. It's a different name now. Actually, Archita was up there bathing too. I don't know if I show his picture here, you'll see. There's Archita right there. So they have Snana Yatra, and the next day is Rath Yatra. So they do it next day. This is where they got to speak. They treat Prabhupada disciples like royalty there when you go there. This is prasadam distribution, prasadam that they had on the stage for the deities. This is a Rath Yatra the next day. So this is a festival called the Boat Festival. It's in a kind of a village area, Mauritius. It's kind of in the southeast, I think. There's Bhakti Chaitanya Swami, you just saw him. I forgot this Swami's name. He's from Africa, who's chanting now. And he leads, they do amazing harinams practically every day there, all throughout the different villages. Sometimes just in their neighborhood. I'll go to the next group. That's where the Maharaj is chanting.
His name is Bhakti Nishinga Swami.
Is it?
Bhakti Nishinga Swami.
Okay, Bhakti Nishinga Swami. He's the one chanting. It's amazing. They say he was leading such ecstatic harinams that one devotee told me he's never experienced such an ecstatic harinam. Sorry, it takes a while to... It's kind of buried in the crowd there. There he is right there. It's long, so this is where they come. They're starting to bring the deities into the festival site there. And this is a part of that new temple they're building. One of the restaurants there. This was the evening at the festival. That night they had some nice chanting, modern instruments. This is the boat festival. Archita's getting ready to go on the boat there. So they make this, they put two boats together and they make it like swans, and they put the deities on the boat. And then all the devotees, they get on boats and they circumambulate the main boat, and then they give out different prasadam. They give out prasadam as they go through here. Was that Bhakti Sundar Swami? There on the left. He's the one that started this festival. It's been going on for like 37 years or something. Yes. It's the ocean. Yeah. Usually they go farther out into the ocean, but because it was kind of a little windy, even though it's very warm, the waves are kind of, the Coast Guard didn't let them go out farther. So it's very nice. We just go around there. And some more kirtan. There's so much talent there. I'm just going to kind of skip through them. And they do, like we do here with a pool, and they do another boat festival with a smaller little boat in the pool like this. And they bring the deities. This is a little boat here. I didn't have enough time to find all the images, so that they were going around in the boat, in this particular boat. They put the deities aren't on there yet. but they put the deities on there. Here he is doing another kirtan. And then Janardhan Swami is leading a kirtan. So this is our this is our jagya for this age. This is the prasadam. I mean, there's already a lot of it already sold by the time I got there. But here's some of the prasadam that was left. I think they were selling these. And then this is the huge tent. Krishna Balaram. This is the Krishna Balaram temple, the farm. And this is another program. This is a house program. And this is in their garage. And I was saying, what about the neighbors? Do the neighbors complain, all this? And they go, no, the neighbors are here. It's like, it's amazing. Everyone in a burst, they rented 2 buses. Actually, there's a devotee that has a business. He drives these buses. And we got 2 of these filled with devotees, and we went to all the different temples around the island. You saw some of them. Another restaurant we went to, this devotee here next to Archita, he owns this restaurant called Pure Veg. It's amazing. It's like the best restaurant. Here's Bhakti Chaitanya Swami. This is another home program. And these are like, we're going from one home program to another. From one temple to another. Just for any excuse, they just have a home program. This is that Subhag Swami? I think his name is. He was giving a class in Hindi. Yeah. And another class in the Phoenix Temple. Interesting mountains there. Looks like a head on top. It was lychee season. Mangoes, papayas. This is another small branch temple that we were invited to go. Archita gave a class there, and they celebrated a birthday. This is the devotees that pretty much in charge of the temple there. And then we went to the beach, talking about going to wonderful atmospheres, like where Lord Śiva was. The devotees take advantage also, and they have nice programs there. They come and chant, they give a class, and then they go into the water also, and they distribute massive amounts of prasadam. So it's nice. Kushangi meeting old friends. Here's another birthday party we went to on the beach. There's a devotee had a beach house, and they celebrated another birthday there, chanting. Very nice devotee. What's her name? Radha Kripa, I think her name is. Anyway, she had her name changed. Got Gandu. It's Radhi. So beautiful, nice prasadam. We even had the opportunity to go to Madhava's house. And he invited a few close friends and family. There's no, just as an excuse to chant, just to get together and chant. It's his little deities. That's his brother playing the drum there. And then there was a couple of friends from South Africa came just to see him. They were very inspired by him. But we'll just move on. And then there's another birthday party. And then the water, devotees in the water, at another beach program, the deities. Tulsi grows wild there. This is in the front of Krishnangi's parents' house. And you see those little altars. Practically every family has little altars outside their temple of Hanuman, Tulsi Devi, and Shiva Linga. And some places will have Durga too. There's a jackfruit tree in the yard. And then they have these markets everywhere. Another beach festival where devotees get together and just chant and talk about philosophy. And this is that devotee, we just found out she's engaged, these two. We'd stay there till dark. Huh? Oh yeah, it's a beautiful paradise, but at the end, I couldn't get used to the mosquitoes, so they would just attack me. At the boat festival, they would do fireworks at the end, and so just to give you a taste of what the devotees are doing around the world, and how this Sankirtan Yajna that we're performing is from ancient times, and how we get purified. So that's the end. Thanks for staying. Any comments, questions about anything? Okay. Thanks again for staying and your patience. All glories to Srimad Bhagavatam, all glories to Prabhupada. Isn't it nice there? Yeah.